Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 35 of Dire News. Today, wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up slash catch up about something I did this past week. And those of you who follow me on Twitter might have noticed that I was in Sweden, Stockholm to be exact, which just coincidentally happens to be where Mojang HQ is, and is absolutely the reason I was there. This episode of Dire News is kind of a recap of the weekend's events, tell you guys what that was all about, some of the cool things I learned, and some of the things I'm excited about that I discovered while I was there. So first off, the way that this came about is a couple people at Microsoft reached out to me and a couple other YouTubers and streamers and basically said, hey, we really want to get some of you guys together with the Mojang team, kind of just to like build a relationship there, just to get you guys, like, obviously, like, I know some of the guys on the team, right? Like, I know Sarge, I know Grum, and I know Mark, I'm friends with those guys, and I know some of the other people, but they really just wanted to make sure that, you know, the group of YouTubers and streamers got together with the group of Mojang and just kind of like meet and greet and get to know each other and build a relationship. So the main purpose of this weekend, they called it the Creators Summit, was to bring a bunch of content creators together and just hang out. Like, there was no like real agenda. It was really just like, hey, let's all hang out and get to know each other and talk Minecraft and do some cool stuff. And that's pretty much what it was. So they brought us out to Sweden. We hung out for a few days. We had like a bunch of little adventures and a little bit of get-togethers, some dinners and stuff, and we all just kind of hung out and got to know each other. So I learned some cool stuff this weekend that I wanted to share with you guys. First, because it's really a big topic for me, is modding. I wanted to talk heavily about mods and modding and mod developers and all that. So that was one of the big things that I, talked to pretty much everybody that I got to about. And I learned some good stuff. So first off, I learned that the modding API for the Bedrock edition of Minecraft is really coming along quite nicely. Sarge is, if you guys don't know who Sarge is, he is the original guy who started working on MCMP, the Minecraft Modders Pack or Minecraft Coders Pack, something like that. It's basically the original tool that was originally used to decompile Minecraft and start building mods. So I always nickname Sarge like literally the godfather of modding because he is the guy who was originally responsible for all things mod. Every mod that we play today is as a result of the work that he originally did to get modding off the ground. And obviously Forge came out of that, and a bunch of other mods came out of that. And those of you who don't know the backstory of Sarge is he eventually got hired by Mojang, and he works for them now. And, one of the big projects that he has is the modding API that is going to go into the Bedrock edition of Minecraft, which, for those of you who don't know, is the version of Minecraft that is going to be running on Windows 10, in the Windows 10 store, and on Xbox, and all these other things. So, basically, the fact that he's in charge of that gives me really good feeling about the future of modding, because it means that they have somebody who truly understands modding and understands the modding community and understands what mods are for and what they do in charge of the team building the modding API for that. So that's really exciting news. I also got a chance to talk to one or two of the people on his team who are working on it. And basically, what they outlined to me was they know what Forge is, they know what Forge can do, they know all about Forge mods, and what they did is they sat down and looked at a bunch of Forge mods, right, across the board, and said, let's build a list of things that Forge modders need, right? So things like the ability to add items, the ability to add blocks with their own textures, the ability to add a UI. So like a UI would be something like, a user interface like, for example, this, right? This is a UI. It's a user interface that players can do things with, right? Or this UI, for example. This is a different UI, right? And the ability to do all these kind of cool things. So long story short, they looked at this and they said, like, here's a list of features that they need to be able to do. Let's start knocking them out in an intelligible order. And their plan is to start off with like an alpha version. And the guy said to me straight up, day one, it's not going to be as powerful as Forge. And we know that. And to be fair, Forge has been like a community developed thing by, hundreds of people who contributed to it over the course of 6 or 7 years. And this is something that they've been working on for like, a little bit now. And day one, it just can't be as powerful as Forge, and it's unfair to expect it to be. But their goal is that day one, you'll be able to do a bunch of cool stuff, and then they're going to start opening it up to some mod developers, and then they're going to expand it, and then they're going to have a beta version, and eventually they'll get to a release version. And the hope is that by the time they get to a release version, you should be able to do almost everything, if not everything, that you can do with Forge today in the new modding API. Now, you might have to go about doing it a different way, but the hope is that everything will be there. So this is pretty exciting for me to hear, because until this weekend, I hadn't really heard much about like what the modding API is going to be. We've seen some of the stuff that you can do with those JSON files for like custom things and whatnot, and that's like cool, but it's not Forge modding, right? Like it's not as exciting. So that was neat to me to hear, and it really gave me confidence that the people who are working on this like kind of get it, which is good, and I'm excited about that. And something else I want to address, and before I address this, I need to say that I've heard nothing official on this topic, and I'm just talking about what I've heard while talking to people who are working on it. But when the video came out about the Minecraft storefront, a lot of people expressed concerns that the future of Minecraft modding will be paying for mods. I don't know, and I can't say what that landscape looks like in the future, and not that I can't say because I was told you're not allowed to talk about this. Like full disclosure, I was told that everything we talk about this weekend is wide open to the public. Like you're allowed to share everything and anything you hear. So I am not hiding anything from you guys, right? But I know that one of the concerns was paying for mods, and I brought that up to some of the people who are influential over there, and I said, is that a thing that's going to happen? It's too early to tell like how that's going to flesh out. But when I brought that up, they were like, we know what happened with Skyrim and Steam when they tried to charge for mods, and there was a huge community backlash, and they 100% understand that like the pay per mod model is not gonna fly. They said they understand that like with the Minecraft storefront, right? Maps, you download a map and it's a fully new experience. But you only download one map at a time. Like you're not downloading 10 maps or 20 maps or 150 maps like we do with mods and play them all together in one big mishmash, right? Like with maps, it's like you get a full cohesive experience and like you play it one at a time, and it may take you hours upon hours to get through that one map. And with mods, some mods are like that, right? But typically the way we play with mods is we mash a bunch of cool mods together, and now we have this giant mod pack, right? So they get that, the storefront model doesn't seem like it's going to work for modding. So again, I don't know for sure, but I feel confident that they understand how modding works. They understand the community, and I'd hazard to say it doesn't look to me like they're going to go down that route. But again, really don't know for sure. And then another topic I want to talk about that we heard a little bit about this weekend is Minecon. So you guys didn't hear a lot of feedback about me from Minecon and the announcement of Minecon Earth, which basically is kind of a diversification of Minecon into separate entities. So what Mojang decided to do, instead of having one single Minecon, where it's a single point of location that's hard to get to for a lot of people, they decided, let's allow some of these third-party companies that are running their own kind of Minecraft conventions to continue to do that in a more official manner, but make sure that they're doing it right and not like ripping people off and doing nasty things like we've seen some of the other third-party. Like some third-party Minecraft conventions are great and some of them are not so great, right? And we all know stories of each. My initial response to this was like, I don't know, but I want to hold off judgment until it happens and see what happens. So I really do, that's how I kind of felt about it initially, if I'm being totally honest with you guys. I was just like, let's hold off judgment until, but like my initial reaction was like, I don't know about this. So I heard them talk about like why they decided to make this change at this Creator Summit. Like they had a whole little panel on it. And coming away from that panel, I felt a lot better. What they really want to do is just give the opportunity for more people to experience a Minecon-like event. So instead of having one Minecon that's, thousands of miles away and costs thousands of dollars to get to and all that stuff, if they can have, 5 or 6 Minecons throughout the year run by different companies, that might be cool, right? And then people can more, enjoy and experience that. Just the impression I got is that they really just want to do right by the community. Like, the people who made that decision, they really want to do right by the community and make sure that everybody has a chance to experience the joys of Minecon. That's the impression I got. And like I said, I came away from that discussion saying, like, all right, I feel better about this. Not that I was particularly like feeling bad about it originally. I was holding off judgment until it happened. But now I feel like, all right, these guys really do have a plan to like make this a great experience for everybody. So I'm kind of excited about the future of like the conventions. If there are 5 or 6 conventions throughout the year that are Minecon-ish like, right? And they're not named Minecon, but they're Minecon-like, right? They're just Minecraft-focused conventions, right? I can maybe go to 1 or 2 of those a year, and get to interact with more fans on a in-person basis. So look for more official news from Mojang about that, like in the future. And I think we may be pleasantly surprised to find out that like, hey, this isn't bad. This is actually a good thing. And finally, just to clear this out there, because I know there will be people in the comments like saying this, I was under 0 obligations to make this video or say anything, right? I didn't have to make a video if I didn't want. I didn't have like a curated script about what I was allowed to say or what I wasn't allowed to say. This is literally just me talking about my impressions and feelings from this past weekend. So this video didn't have to exist at all, and that's fine. But I decided that I wanted to talk to you guys about what I got out of the weekend, hanging out with the Mojang guys and hanging out with some of the Microsoft people. It's cool. Like, good stuff is happening. And I'm kind of excited about the future, like I said, of the Bedrock Edition, the potential for a modding API there. My hope is that, a few years down the line, we're going to look back and be like, wow, this is really... things have changed in modding, right? I don't know for sure, obviously. Nobody can predict the future. But the impression I got from talking to the people working on this is they want to do it right. And that's the first time for me that I've actually spoken to people working on this project. And I got a really good feeling out of it. So that's my weekend in Sweden. Aside from the Minecraft related news, I had a really good time. Checking out Sweden and Stockholm was cool. Got to see a lot of cool sights, got to walk around the city. It was definitely a crazy experience. I was there for just a couple of days. So, it felt like a whirlwind, right? Like, fly in, hang out for a few days. We had a very busy schedule. And got to see a bunch of other friends that, like, I'm friends with online. Like, I hung out with Doc M, hung out with Ant Venom, hung out with Caveman Films, hung out with Aurelian, hung out with Sevidus, hung out with OMG Chad. Just a bunch of people, and there were a lot of other YouTubers and streamers there that I didn't know so well, because they brought in people from many different countries. So there was like a couple from Spain and a couple from France, like people that I obviously didn't know at all. But it was really cool hanging out with everybody and had a good time and getting to meet new people. So it was a really good time. It was a neat trip, and I had a lot of fun. So that's it for Dire News. I hope you guys enjoyed just this update on, what I learned at the Creators Summit in Sweden. Definitely had a good time. Like I said, had a really... came away from it feeling really good about the potential future of what's going to happen with modding in Minecraft. For now, Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Dire News. Take it easy.